LC, for Premier, for Elite, all good things. So congratulations to everyone. And Dar, you did a magnificent job. Had a little help, but you went through them well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, coaches, excited this morning for our guest speakers. And this is a husband and wife team that, typically we go through and we announce and say, here's the credentials, here's what these guys have accomplished. And they were so great because they said, hey, look, Jeff, we do this as a team. We are Team Ignition Mission. We work together. We don't want anyone pointed out over the other because this is a team, which is absolutely just such a fun thing to do and refreshing in so many ways. So today we're thrilled to have on the call Jake and Amber Kuiper. They're three-time elite coaches. They're the parents to 4 children. As I mentioned, their team name is Team Ignition Mission. They are just recently from Naples, Florida. They originally hail, if you will, from Minnesota, from the Minneapolis area. So I just took a moment to pull up the weather map to see, because Jake was bragging a little earlier. It says, oh, it's nice down here in Naples. It's about 77 degrees. Not quite sure what the weather is. It's 17 in Minneapolis this morning. And so I think you do the math, there's about 60 degrees difference. So if you kind of gloat in your warm weather, I don't think you're going to make any friends in Minneapolis today. So I would tread lightly on that. But hey, guys, in all seriousness, thanks for being on the call today and being so immaculately prepared, as the coaches will see here in just a few moments. But in jumping in, let's just get to know the two of you. And I know you've got a little bit of a shtick you go back and forth here, but who are you guys anyway?
Yeah, so 3.5 years ago, we'll just kind of share our story, really, of how we got to where we are today. But 3.5 years ago, we were parents of 4 kids that were 4 years old and younger. So we had all 4 of our kids in less than 3 years. So we had our oldest son, Balin. 17 months later, we had identical twin girls, Emerson and McKinley. And then 17 months later, after that, we had our last little boy, Case. And so at the time, Jake was working full-time in corporate medical device sales. I was a stay-at-home mom, really had no ambition to do anything except be a stay-at-home mom. That was my dream. And I found myself at this point, though, where I was really sort of lost with who I was. And it started to affect our relationship. It affected who I was as a mom. I'd always been active. I was a big time runner, had run marathons. And after my first 2 pregnancies, was able to sort of get back into a good groove. But after our 4th, I just couldn't. I was lost. I didn't know how to feel like myself again. And so, like many of us, I was scrolling on Facebook one day, probably in the middle of the night, and saw a post from one of my friends about the 21-day fix. And, I'd seen her post probably a dozen times before that, always sort of rolled my eyes. But for whatever reason, on that day, it just struck me that I maybe should just try this. And so I reached out, I got information, and I shared it with Jake. And his first thought was, I don't know if we need to spend money on this. We had a gym membership. And so he's like, I think we can just kind of figure this out on our own. And since I'm stubborn, about a week later, I decided to order the 21-day fix DVDs anyway. And I went for it all in, working in my basement every single day. And it really didn't take him too long to see that it was helping me become the person that I wanted to be from the inside out, not only the workouts, but the community. And so after 21 days, I had great results, but I was still super tired. And so I started doing this research on the Shakeology stuff that everyone was talking about, and saw that I could get a discount if I signed up as a discount coach. So I didn't really even tell my coach. I just signed up for the discount because I wanted to keep him happy, keep the costs down. And a few months later, as I was, working on myself, I just got this stirring in my heart that I had to share this with other moms who were in the same spot I was. And so from there, I started running groups, and our business kind of took off.
Yeah, and on my end, I feel like the number one thing that holds men back, or spouses for that matter, is just a lack of education. And I guess me being me, I had my routine. I liked going to the gym. I liked doing my treadmill, a little bit of bench press, some bicep curls, a little bit of core work, and hitting the steam room. And so when Amber came and wanted to do this at-home workout program, it just didn't really make sense. I didn't really care to learn a whole lot about it. But as she got got more involved in it, as she started really treating it like a business, I just continued to get more and more interested in it. But I still was kind of left doing what I always knew. I had my own routine, and it really wasn't until about Shift Shop that Amber's like, look, I want you to go all in on this just for 3 weeks. And I promise you, if you get no results, you see no transformation whatsoever, I will never bother you again. And so me being me, again, I was like, hey, that I will do this, and I will prove to her that this doesn't work. And so I went all in. We'll talk about that here in a second, but I went all in. I followed the nutrition program. I wrote all my little things on my agility markers. And one of the things I wrote, and I've actually shared this with Chris, is a little thing called Ignite a Life. And to me at the time, as somebody who was aspiring up the corporate ladder, as somebody who wanted to influence and just provide some education and training for people, I wrote that with 1,000 different people in mind. But at the end of the day, probably 3 to 6 weeks after maybe I did round 2 of Shift Shop, I was left feeling like the life that was ignited was mine. And since then, our family has gone all in on these product launches. 80-Day Obsession, we went through it together, each and every aspect of it. We went through Lift 4. I think we've done it now 3.5, 4 times. And now we just wrapped up doing Shift Shop. And so for our family, that like tiny moment, that tiny bit of a push from Amber telling me like, look, just go all in. And if it doesn't work, I'll leave you alone, has completely changed our family's life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love the way you guys went about it. And the other thing that became very clear quickly is who's the boss in the family, where Amber presents it to Jake and Jake's not on board. And she'll, okay, we're going to do this as a family, as a husband and wife. And then she quickly ignored you and went and bought it anyway. So anyway, that's good. But joking aside, I think the great part about this is people are saying, how do I get my spouse, my partner involved in this, is to find a win, to kind of scratch their itch, if you will. And the experience that comes from completing a program, that kind of investment, you want buy-in, there's got to be commitment to something. And that's how people, that's what happened with you guys. And it's just been really kind of fun to see. And we actually have tracked you as you've launched different businesses, and you've done a great job. So coaches, this morning's call really is about, how do you launch a new program that's coming out? How do you take advantage of that? Now, I know that some of you may be sitting here going, well, I really haven't done anything. They'll speak to that. But you'll also see that there's 3 key pieces of any launch. There's the pre, there's the launch itself, and then there's the post-launch. And they're going to speak to those pieces. So I'm going to get out of the way, let you two guys do your banter, and hopefully at the end you'll still be agreeing, and all will be good in the Kuiper household. So take it away, guys.
All right. Well, we are really excited. And, for those of you who may not be working as a couple, we're going to share kind of the different things that we break up to really help the launch go forward. But it doesn't have to be a couple. It could be a success partner or anyone that, you like to do your business with. We have found that the business is so much more fun when you are doing it together.
Yeah. So for step 1 for us, we just do kind of this massive brain dump. And Emily kind of alluded to it on last week's call as well. But the thing with this business is a lot of times we overcomplicate it. And we kind of get in our heads of not feeling like we know enough about the program to talk about it. But I want to assure you that you do. There are a couple of key things that we know about this program that we can be talking about right away. First things first, it's Shaun T. And the nice thing for you is that a lot of other people are going to know who Shaun T is. He is an international super trainer. We know that these workouts are going to be 20 minutes a day, so we can speak to the convenience of that. We know that there is a step, but there's also a modifier. So you have the ability to have anybody, wherever they are at in their health and wellness journey, participate in this program. Another thing that we really like is that the program is going to be different each and every day. And we've done that with 80-Day Obsession and Lift 4, so we can speak to that. The other thing that we know is that we're going to have access to the program next week, and that the VIP program is actually going to be kicking off the first week of January. Oh, sorry, second week of January. Not looking at my notes. So there's so many things that we already know that we can go out and we can be talking about right now.
Yeah, so after we ask ourselves, what do we know? The next thing that we're asking is, what else do we need to know? And what we're really asking here is, what else do we need to know so that we can really enthusiastically and authentically share about this program in a really sincere way, right? And so the questions that we feel, and literally, you guys, we just did this. So if you haven't done it, you can start today and do this. But we're asking ourselves, okay, what do we need to know? We probably need to know what the different packages are, right? So what are the challenge packs? What are the completion packs? What are the bundles? What are the differences? And what do those terminology, what do those words mean? What are the most important dates that we need to know? What products are included in the different bundles? And so the reason why we ask ourselves this is because we want to really become researchers and feel like we know enough about the program to share about it. And, you know, when I started out as a coach, at the time, I didn't have an upline that was working the business. And so I would hop on these calls, and I learned quickly that I could become a CEO, even if I didn't have an upline, because I could research. And so the great thing is there are so many tools out there. So when we're trying to find answers to these questions, we're going to the Beachbody Champions page. We're searching the search bar for Transform 20. We're looking at the trainings that have been out there. We're going in our back online office and we're looking at the product toolkit. We're looking at all the different forms that are available. Again, really just trying to research and know as much as we can know, because once we know the basics, then we can put our own creative spin on it and we can make it our own and share it to our market the way that it's going to make most sense for them. In terms of what we focus on together, we end up coming back together, but once we have our questions compiled, we break it up. So Jake focuses more on the timeline, and we'll talk about the timeline here in a minute. He loves the marketing piece of it. So he'll kind of reverse engineer the dates and make sure everything is plugged in as far as what we want to accomplish before everything launches. While he's doing that, I am the one kind of diving into those nitty-gritty details, figuring out what things cost, figuring out what graphics we need to be able to share with our market. One thing we also do then is we create a YouTube video. And we started doing this about a year ago. Anytime we have a new boot camp coming up or a new product coming up, we just create a 5 to 10 minute video together where we share, okay, this is what the group is going to be about. And we share enthusiastically, excitedly. And the reason we do it together, even though a lot of times it is the wife who is reaching out first before the husband, just by them seeing us do that together, it sort of is that first seed planted that, maybe my husband would do this with me someday. And so we create that YouTube video. That's another tool that we have ready so that we can send that out to people who are interested. The other thing we do is create a canned email response. If you are not yet using canned responses from Gmail, it's a total game changer. Basically, you just create templates, and anytime you have someone that reaches out about Transform 20, you can send them this email that you have created. So we're gonna pop that YouTube video inside that email, so that literally once we start talking about this on social media and people start reaching out to us, we don't have to wait and then create everything later. We're ready to send them the information that they need.
So once we have everything kind of in place, we know the details, we know what we're going to need to have as far as launching it. Then we do kind of what you were alluding to a second ago, and we piece together a marketing calendar. And so right now what we're looking at is we're looking at the end of November, we're looking at December, and we're looking at January. And for me, I'm just very visual. And I keep reminding myself with this that even though we have product launches that are ongoing, the rest of the business continues to function. So we have to be thinking, when are we going to do sneak peeks or free groups? When are we going to be doing 3-day refresh? Maybe we've got people that are finishing up Lift 4 or 80-day obsession or shift shop. So all those different aspects, in addition to national wake-up calls and team meetings and leaders calls, they all continue to run. So we map all of those on a calendar so that we can just see everything. So as it pertains to Transform 20 now we're transitioning into more of this pre-launch phase. So in pre-launch, we want to be talking about the workouts on a regular basis. We're talking about that with our team. We're talking about that with customers. We're talking about that with ongoing challenge groups that we're in. We can be sharing Shaun T workouts in our stories on Instagram and on Facebook. We can be sharing different stories that we've gotten or taken from the workouts in the feed that we're writing out there on Instagram and on Facebook. So what you can do is you can take all these things that you're doing already just by going through maybe a T25 or an Insanity, and you can already start talking to people a little bit about Shaun T specifically. I actually went on Google the other day and I just typed in Shaun T quotes, and there are hundreds of them. And for us, we're writers. All that we need to do is just see a little bit of a quote, and we've got something that we can write out. So take a few minutes and go in and just do a quick search, and you can just start giving people exposure to Shaun T, because that's ultimately what they're going to connect with the most. The other thing that we've begun implementing is a free group. And the free group is just kind of an informational dump. So they get as much information on the program as they possibly can. And you can find this in your coach office. There are so many different resources and videos and YouTube links, all that kind of stuff. And we just post it in there so people can get an idea of what the workout's going to be like. In addition to that, and this is something that we're kind of excited about, we're running what we're calling a 2-for-1. So we're really promoting a hybrid Shaun T workout calendar as something that they're going to get in addition to signing up for Transform 20 in January. In our free group, when we're looking and we see people that are potentially, potential coaches, or they seem like they might be interested in running the program, or if they're asking us any questions in general, we'll actually pull them out and see if we can do a Zoom call just like this and talk to them a little bit more about the program, a little bit more about the coaching opportunity, and then we try and break it down in a manner that they can just, hopefully take tangible things, go out and implement, maybe find 1, 2, or 3 people that could join them for the challenge group. The last thing, I guess two final things that we do. One of the things that we've done really well as a family is gained email addresses over the years. So we've got a mass list that we can blast to people. And I want to remind you of this because oftentimes as coaches, we think just because somebody said no to us, a couple of challenge groups ago, we just fail to reach out to them or try them again. But the reality is that previous programs might not have been their jam, but Transform 20 could be. And it's not for us to make that decision. So we're going to at least blast anybody that's been in our email registry and let them know that we've got this fun new 20-minute step program that's going to be launching in January. The last thing that we do, and I feel like this is something that I take away from medical device sales, is we are big believers in the pre-order forms. So we try and gather as much information as we possibly can, email, phone numbers. We try and get whatever selections they would want, whether it's the performance or Shakeology flavors. And we have everything essentially in our information, in our possession, whether it's from a tracker that we're provided by Team Beachbody, or if it's just actually creating a Google document and keeping all that information. We essentially have all that our coaches or potential customers are going to need. All that we need to do is send them a share cart once everything goes for sale.
And then now that the pre-order form is live and they filled that out, next we're on to the launch phase. And we'll go through these a little bit faster, but the launch phase is really when we get super excited inside of our group. So the first thing we're doing on the day that the packs launch is we're going live. We're posting what we purchased, right? So as coaches, we should be the very first people that purchase our own pack. And so we're going to go in, we're going to share what we got, why we got it, get them really excited. And then we're going to go on with our launch party and ask them to do the same thing. So when they purchase, they're going to take a photo and post it and share that they have their package too. We do giveaways that anyone who, has purchased can enter into a giveaway. Really just the goal during the launch phase is to keep the energy high and just creating that fear of missing out for people that have not yet purchased. The other thing we wanted to make sure that we touched on, because we've noticed this make a big impact in our business, is, as the Facebook algorithms have changed, even in Facebook groups over the last couple of years, we really can't just assume that we can pop someone in a Facebook group and they see all the content and they're going to sign up on their own. And so we are really intentional about taking the extra time to follow up one-on-one with the people who are in our free groups. And we found that for our team, this can be a missing link for a lot of people. If you're not willing to put in that hard work to follow up with them. And when I say follow up, I don't just mean, hey, it's live, do you want to buy from me? I mean, finding a reason to touch base with them. So, like Jake said, we're sharing all kinds of free value in our free group. So for example, if I share a recipe, I might then follow up one-on-one with the people in the group and say, hey, I just wanted to touch base and make sure that you saw that I posted this recipe today in the group. I think your family would love it. And, it's a reason for me to touch base with them, add a value. And then of course I am also asking, hey, do you want to jump on board? It'd be so much fun to have you in the group, maybe at a different time. But we're probably touching base with people one-on-one 2 to 3, 4 times, depending on how long it takes for them to, get excited about Transform 20. During the launch phase, the other thing that we're doing is just being really intentional about posting on social media. So the cool thing about ordering your pack right away when it launches is then you can talk about it on social media because it's in your house. And so throughout the month of December, we'll be sharing little snippets of us doing the preview workouts. We'll be talking about, again, like you said, sharing quotes, just different things so that you're continually, again, planting seeds for people who are watching you. And of course, just keep inviting. Like Jake said, don't assume that, just because you had your free group start in December, that you have everyone. And I'm going to be inviting to that free group all the way through the end of January.
So now you actually have access to the program, and that's really for us where a lot of the fun begins. But it's a reminder to all of us to be great coaches. Commit to going through the program. Follow the nutrition plan through and through. Don't miss a workout. Show up each and every day as somebody who's actually going through the program, and then show up each and every day as a coach. Be a great coach. Whether you have 1 challenger, 3 challengers, or 50 challengers, this is a great opportunity for you to launch your business. Be sharing about it. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times that we have coaches that come back to us 6 months later and they go, man, I wish I would have taken my before pictures, my before measurements, my weigh-ins, all that kind of stuff. That's a part of your story. Take pride in it, capture everything, get multiple outfits, get multiple ways for you to share what this journey has meant for you, and then show up each and every day and just talk about it. I say this all the time to our team, but we're so comfortable sharing the what's that oftentimes we skip the hows and the whys. Spend your time sharing how and why, or maybe something that Sean said in the workout that meant something to you, and then talk about why. Those are the reasons that people are going to connect to you along your journey, and that's how round 2, when you run your second group, is going to be even bigger than round 1. After the launch is over, and this is something that we are constantly doing in all areas of our business, take a little bit of time, decompress, take a deep breath, but then go back and evaluate what worked, maybe what worked and what didn't work, and then evolve. This business is constantly changing. It changes every single day. And if you take the time to look at what's going really well and maybe some areas for growth, you can constantly be moving your business forward.
So guys, some rapid fire, great information there. So I'm going to just kind of go back to the beginning a little bit on this from the standpoint of the number of coaches we have on this call. By the time all is said and done, we'll have some 10,000 coaches that will probably listen to this call. Many of them have probably not done anything yet as it relates to, it's hard to believe, I know, but maybe some haven't done anything yet in preparation for this launch. If you were to say, hey, new coach or someone that just came into the business, here's one takeaway that you can take from this call to get started today. What would that piece be in your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say for me, it would just be, again, don't feel like you're too late. It's not too late to get started. Jump all in on some kind of Shaun T workout and start sharing about it. Mm-hmm. Also go in the back office and just learn. Once you watch the videos, once you learn about the challenge packs, you are going to be so excited to share. Like for us, it's like, wow, we have this program that's 20 minutes long. I mean, how cool is that we can share it? So I would say from my perspective, learn right now mm-hmm. and do these steps like today. It's not too late to do what we just shared today.
Yeah. And
Jake, before you jump in, let me just maybe do a shameless plug for what you were saying, Amber, is that if you do go to the back office, we've got product training guides back there that are there, they're live, and they literally walk you through everything that you need to know about this, about this program. And one of the cool things is on the back of this guide, there's actually a little decision tree. It's the product comparison guide. So as you talk with maybe brand new people that don't know who Shaun T is, they're a brand new customer, it walks you through what would be right for them. So we've tried to make this as simple as possible. So when Amber says, go find out what you don't know, it's there, it's accessible, and it's really in a great format that will turn you into a pretty ready, you'll have as much information as you need to know. And then with the FAQ 820 as well. So anyway, just wanted to do that little plug, but Jake, I cut you off, so go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to kind of say something similar. I mean, we know the basics, and that's what we kind of tried highlighting first and foremost with this. And so I would learn the basics as quickly as possible. I'd go on YouTube and watch videos of it so you just can kind of see what the programs are like. I'd dive deep into a Shaun T workout and go through it. And then lastly, I'd listen to the final 5 minutes of this call, and I'd just get to work. I mean, there's no wrong time to get started. Right now is the best time to do it. And so you just got to prioritize making the time within your day right now to get to work.
Yeah, and I just one other thing that I would do as any coach is the way you guys start this business is you have the 3 questions that you ask, and you ask yourself this, what do we know? Okay. Then secondly, what do we need to know? And then the third question, what do we need to do to have a successful launch on this program? And so 3, write them on your wall, write them on your mirror. So those are front and center in front of you. So, well, guys, absolutely great content. And I know this is going to be one where coaches go back and listen to again and again and break it apart and start saying, okay, here's some things that I need to do. Before we end, though, we've got a little bit more recognition. We missed some people. I want to do that at the very end. But okay, so the Kuipers have been in the business for 3-4 years. They've moved to the warm environs of Naples. The big namby-pamby's afraid of the Minneapolis cold. Anyway, that aside, how has life changed for you guys?
Yeah, we would say the number one thing that this business has given us is the ability to be the present parents that we want to be. We always had this desire to do it, but we just didn't know how to really make it happen. Jake was working for the first 7 years of our parenthood journey so much, and he missed out on a lot. And so the fact now that we can work this business together is amazing. And so in August, we really did some, or I should say earlier this year, we kind of just did some soul searching because we were at this point really having a lot of tension. I was working a lot with Beachbody. Jake was working, a lot in corporate America, and he also has a real estate business. And we were so out of balance. And so as we looked at, okay, what can we do next? We couldn't deny the fact that our coaching business was out earning his corporate job. And so we made the decision to go all in. In August, he stepped down from his corporate job, which is crazy because, even a year ago, you would have asked him and he would have said, oh no, I want to do this job. Like, he really did love his job. He would have wanted to do it forever, but you never know just kind of how your priorities start to change and how your life starts to change. And we're just grateful that we can now do this together. And, our kids are a little older. When people used to tell me that it went by so fast, I would want to roll my eyes and punch them, but it really does, because now all 4 of our kids are in school and we can work this business full time together. But when they're at home, we can also be present with them.
Yeah, and Amber kind of touched on it there a second ago, but I worked in vascular surgery sales for about the last decade. And for anybody who's a traveling salesman, or if your spouse is a traveling salesman, for any nurses out there or people, techs, doctors that are putting in countless hours, you guys know what a grind it was. I mean, there were days that it would be 3:30, 4 in the morning that I'd be on the road, and I wouldn't get back until 1 in the morning the next day, crawl in bed just enough, get enough sleep just to do it again the next day. And, I've spent countless weeks, months, years probably in a hotel bed for a better part of a decade. And I'm realizing now just how much I missed, especially with my 7-year-old. I mean, he's kind of the oldest now, but, a couple of weeks ago, he wanted to go play basketball. And so we went down to the rec center by our house here, and we played basketball and we played football. And he got a little hot and sweaty, so he wanted to go take a dip in the pool. So we went to the pool, and I just kind of thought we were done at that point, but we were just getting started. We had to go back and we had to play more basketball and more football. And when we were on our way back to our house, he goes, Dad, when we get home, can we play kickball? And I go, of course, babe. Yeah, sure. He goes, awesome. Best day ever. And for me, I feel like I'm having a lot of those moments as of late, just realizing that I do have the flexibility now. I know we make a good sustainable income doing this, and it just allows me to be a little bit more of a present parent. So I think for both of us, we're still kind of learning some things, but it's kind of this overwhelming sense of gratitude right now for this opportunity and this organization and the people a part of it, because it's really changed the life of us as a couple, as well as the life of that we're going to get to have with our kids.
Well, that's a great way to end the call. Sometimes I wish we'd almost start with the stories at the beginning, because I think people would go, I want some of that. I'm going to listen to every single second of this, of this call. But what you just touched on, Jake, about time with family and the ability to do those things. That's the stuff that people are going to remember, right? And that's kind of the stuff that we're working for. So clearly, it doesn't come without becoming good at this business and learning the skill sets and investing and doing the hard work, and that will give you the right to I just laughed and you said, we're going to roll my eyes and punch people, Amber. Some people were laughing about that. But you know what? When you're busy and doing good things, life, stuff does go fast. And it's also amazing the cumulative effect of doing the right things consistently over time, how that can generate and turn itself into really a rewarding business. And that's what we want for everybody. So, and that's why we have these calls and put good people like the Kuipers on these calls to share abundantly the things that they're doing to create success. And they do that with just a great abundant mentality. So you guys, thank you so much. And here's to a great launch, right?
Yes, thank you.
All right, all the best, guys. Hey, well, before we wrap up, we missed some recognition that we want to make sure that we get, or we would not sleep for the next week. We missed some of our new 1-star diamonds. And Sandy, I don't know if you're going to put these up on the screen or not. There's a slide, but Dar came over and ran these to me. So let's just give a big shout out to Nicolette Anderson, Jessica Barry, Lisa Cook, I'm reading it off the screen, Emily Favre, Preeti Gandhi, Nicole Horton, Katie Ingalls, Cheryl Jessen, Ashley Caskell, Amy Rada, Vincent Robert, Anna Rustic, Sarah Verha, and Carly Wright. So you guys, congratulations. Sorry we missed you in the normal course of things, but as we can always do, we're going to try and make right when we do something wrong. So congratulations to you guys. Coaches, it's a great call. Like I said, there's 5 days left in the month. There's 4 days after that up till the launch of Transform 20. What are you going to do? This is not a time now to sit back and hope it happens. This is a time to get to work. And you've got some things that, some action items that both Amber and Jake gave to you. And what do you know? What do you need to know? Then what do you need to do to have a successful launch? Are you measuring your business so that you know that you're being productive in the things that matter most and that will create results in your business? If you're not measuring, go to the back office and download the BAT and measure what you're doing as far as invites and contacts and creating new followers. That's where this business is built. And then by authentically sharing with people. We're changing lives, guys. We're creating results in people's lives. That's what you do. But to the extent that you can get better at it, that your business will grow and will be more successful, and you can have a little bit of what Amber and Jake said. So with that, guys, thanks for being on the call. We'll call it quits now. Take it away, Sandy.
Thanks so much. I have a daily affirmation. Do what your heart leads you to do. Everybody have a great week. Thanks to Amber and Jake and Jeff, and have a great week. We'll see you here next week. Bye-bye, everybody.